How's it going, guys? Necromancer New with the Marvel Rivals video. This is going to be a slightly different one than what I normally do, but it's going to be a fun one. I wanted to make this video kind of a list of things you shouldn't do in a team-based game, or things that you should stop doing because it's really shameless and you're probably going to upset your teammates. So here's a list of 9 different things that you shouldn't do. If you guys want more content like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment. It all helps out. Let me know what you want to see in future videos down below. Also, don't take this video too seriously. I'm trying to just make pretty fun of it. But at the same time, if you are getting too tilted about this, you may be the problem in your lobby. I see a lot of really toxic players on here, and let's just try to slightly change that. Starting with the first thing that you can do that is very shameless and it might upset your teammates and other people. When there is the ban phase, you pick a character based on solely your character alone and not on the team composition, or maybe you're trying to pick ban a separate character on your team. Now, for example, if you see a teammate that is trying to pick Hawkeye or Black Widow, Jeff, Raccoon, and someone on the team may be really upset about that and they specifically use the pick ban to ban that character. Now, am I arguing that some of those characters are bad or good? No, this isn't the video for it. I am saying that just about any character can be used properly in the right hands, but that's a different story. But when you do something like that, one, you're wasting your ban on a character that is arguably very strong that you could be getting out of the picture. Like, if you think the character is that bad, why are you banning that character specifically? You're wasting that vote, wasting the vote on your whole team, and possibly throwing the game in the future because, let's say there's a crazy Bucky, a crazy Wolverine, or Groot on the other team that is absolutely demolishing you guys, and you could have used that ban towards something like that. The next example I'm talking about is when it comes to something like you're playing Squirrel Girl or someone like Magic, something like this, and immediately you want to ban a Namor, immediately you want to ban a Spider-Man because it is kind of your counter pick. But in reality, if you look at your team, maybe your whole team is full of kind of like shield, play it back, play it a little more safe, and push up as a whole team, and then you're playing as the sole dive character and you really want that ban catered to just your character alone. It's pretty shameless. Which this leads pretty well into my second thing that you can do that is very shameless. It is be a one-trick pony. And what exactly do I mean by a one trick? I mean, as a one trick is like you can only play Spider-Man and your character gets banned. Maybe the enemy team bans them. Next thing you know, you're in shambles. You don't know any other character to play. And you're essentially throwing the match because you don't know how to play any other character very well. Or someone else picks your character and you're throwing a hissy fit and you're like, yo bro, I can only play Hulk. I don't know how to play any other character. Why are you in a ranked match right now? Shouldn't you be learning other characters? Like, it's just, that's really frustrating. And a one trick can also be someone who only knows how to play one specific style of characters, right? So this goes for like someone that's playing Spider-Man, maybe it doesn't go their way. They switch to something like Psylocke, then they switch to something like Magic, switch to Black Panther, and they keep wondering why they keep dying, keep doing this. They don't sit down and think, maybe the team has an anti-dive comp right now. Maybe my other team isn't really helping me out, which is that their fault or yours? That's for a different video or different discussion. But that alone, maybe you should learn other types of characters and different types of play styles, and maybe your performance will be a lot better this game. Which leads into my third point you can do that is incredibly shameless, and some people may not just realize that they're doing it. Some people may just wait for someone else to, take control and tell them to switch. But number 3 of the shameless things you can do, not be performing very well in the game, whether it's just the game itself or just the round, the characters you're going up against, and you don't switch. Like, you want to be DPS, you insta-lock DPS at the start, and then next thing you know, you're 4 and 10, and, you wait until a teammate tells you to switch. If you take the upper hand and switch ahead of time, I think situation could go a lot better. But a lot of people wait until it's too late. They wait till they lose a whole round. They wait till the enemy pushes way too far past. To put it simply, not switching when things aren't going well your way. Maybe it's just not your match. Maybe it's just not your game. Just switch it up, and I promise things will probably go a little bit better than staying and doing the same exact thing, rinse and repeat over and over. And that being said, a lot of the stuff is circumstantial, right? Like, granted, I could be a tank and I could be pushing out a lot of damage, but my DPS aren't getting a lot of final hits, so it doesn't look like on paper you may be getting a lot of final hits, but maybe your DPS just needs a little more of a push, vice versa. Like, there's a lot of situational things. Like, this isn't always the case, but in most cases more than none. If you're not performing well apart from everyone else on your team, maybe it's time for you to change and do something differently. Now, number 4 on the list of shameless things you can do. This is really petty. It's not a very big issue at the end of the day, but it is just kind of arrogant. And that is when you're in a party or a group of people and you only upvote each other. It is extremely shameless. It looks incredibly selfish, and it just kind of gives groups and parties a bad name in this game, right? Like, people already get a lot of heat for playing in groups in this game, and I don't think that's the problem itself. But when people act like that, you know, like, you could be MVP, you could get a bunch of final hits, good damage blocked, like, you know, you could arguably carry their team. And next thing you know, you don't get an upvote at the end of the day, but they upvote each other. It's just like, what's the point, dude? Number 5 is blaming random teammates for not performing or not doing something correctly, instead of not calling out your teammates or your party that you're playing with instead. Now, I get it. I like playing in a team. I like playing in a group of people. But at the same time, we always call each other out at the end of the day. We call each other out for bad plays. That's how we get better as a group. And it is super easy to try to blame a random teammate that you don't know because, you know, it's just the thing people do. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I get it. You want to play with friends and have fun with friends. Like, I do the same thing. But at the end of the day, if you're playing competitive, you have to have that competitive edge. You have to try to be better. You have to try to make yourself better. It can only get so far with you carrying them. Now, going into point 6, that is intentionally throwing games. This may go into one of the other ones I was talking about. If, you know, a teammate specifically bans your character, it is very frustrating. But for you to just outright throw your game is incredibly shameless. You know, not everyone on the same team had the same idea. Not everyone was trying to throw your game, but instead you intentionally throw the game. It turns into a 5v6. The game is basically impossible to beat at that point. Or maybe you had multiple bad games in a row. Someone's trying to call you out for something and, oh, I don't want to hear it. Keep talking and I'm going to throw the game. Just get off of competitive, dude, at that point. Touch grass. Go do something for fun. You're clearly way too in-depth into this, and it's not going well. Just take a break. Taking a break is probably one of the greatest things you can do in this game, especially like something like this where it can get very frustrating at times. But that is not the way to play games, not the way to play a team-based game. Intentionally throw your games. You know, you're just going to end up getting yourself reported, and what's the point? Now, number 7, you're in the pick bans, you're into who you want to play at the start of the round, you know, and you or multiple teammates don't pick and say who you're going to pick at the start of the round, or just go in the chat, leave a text message and just say, hey, I just want to really play Vanguards. I can play any Vanguard. Or, hey, I want to play DPS this round. Hey, I want to do support. Like, just let your teammate know. Communication is key in a game like this. And if you're not communicating, if you're just leaving it blank, next thing you know, everyone's picked their characters and then you pick the 4th DPS or the 3rd DPS. Like, that is incredibly shameless, dude. Like, just communicate a little bit. If you're not going to pick who you want to play at the very start, just let someone know what you want to do in the future. It'll make the pick bans a lot better, right? You know, you can actually figure out what your team has, what teams you want to see as the counter picks, what teams you just don't want to see, what heroes you don't want to see in general. Like, just do me a favor and pick who you're going to play at the start of the round, which I already kind of mentioned it, but number 8 of shameless things you can do. Else has already picked what characters you got, right? Maybe you got 1 support, you got 2 DPS, 2 dinks. What would be your option as to what you want to pick? There's basically only one right answer. You should probably go support. Instead, you pick 3rd DPS, and it isn't like a first come, first serve in most cases, but it is just incredibly rude if everyone else already kind of has an idea of what they're going to do, and then you're the last one to pick, the last one to do anything. Next thing you know, it just kind of ruins the whole team composition because someone has to switch, someone else has to switch possibly, and then it just turns into a big old mess. Do not be that player who is last to pick, and next thing you know, you're automatically insta-picking a DPS. It's just super shameless. Don't be that dude. You're going to be judged, all right? Now, number 9 on the list of shameless things you can do. This is a pretty big one. It is not knowing positioning, not correctly placing yourself within the team. And what I mean by this is if you're a healer, and somehow, some way, you are above the tanks, trying to dish out some damage as cloak and dagger, trying to do something really ridiculous, you get automatically picked. Your team's at a disadvantage. They're probably going to push and then absolutely sweep your team, and then it is basically just your fault. Or being a dive character like Spidey, Black Panther, Magic, Psylocke. You're up in the front lines, you're up in their back lines doing some damage. Maybe you get one pick on a support. Next thing you know, you get picked off, and then you're basically at a disadvantage still. Like, I get it, you probably think you're him, you probably had some crazy games as a dive, but if you're not learning how to get out of a situation properly and you're just feeding the enemy team, right, you're not doing any good to your teammates, you're not doing any good to yourself. A good dive knows how to get in and out of a fight before they're even in any trouble. And a good dive knows when to get a good pick on the back lines and then mate up with your front lines and then help them out, assist them, get a pick up front, something like that. Dive back into the back enemy lines and rinse and repeat, right? It's not that crazy hard. It's not anything that's like rocket science. But if you just keep repeatedly feeding the enemy teams, you just keep dying over and over. And at that point, your whole team is staggered because they're out one character because someone keeps dying way before anyone else, keeps running back, dying immediately, running back, dying immediately. You're not doing any good to the team. You're going to be judged. It's incredibly shameless. Stop doing it. And I mentioned healers and duelists, but it also goes for vanguards as well. If you're not pushing up as the tank, if you're trying to go behind your DPS and stuff like that, just stop. Positioning. If you don't know how to do a right position with your team or as the hero you're playing as, learn some tips, learn some tricks, try to perform slightly better, right? Now, I think that just about covers my list of shameless things you can do or that your teammates do that they should stop doing and you should stop doing. Let me know what you think about this down below. Let me know in the comments down below if there's something else that you want to add to the list. But aside from that, leave a like, subscribe, it all helps out. I'll have future Marvel Rival videos along the way. Season 2 is coming out right before we know it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.